we're recording. Okay, well, welcome back to another Thrive Talk. And today we're talk dance. We have Jose, we have Jonathan, and we have Gilbert. Amazing dancers that basically have been on stages with J-Lo, Christina Aguilera, Justin Bieber, and probably, some movies that you've seen. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start off with, let's say, well, Gilbert,
What's up?
just give the audience an idea of who you are, and also a bit of how you got into dance and why you chose dance.
So, first off, thanks for having me on your talk. Again, my name is Gilbert Saldivar. I am a professional dancer living in Los Angeles. And I guess what I usually say, my bullet points of how people know me as a performer, I spent a lot of time with Christina Aguilera. She was my first tour and she's my current project. And I also spent a lot of time with Jennifer Lopez, which we shared the stage, Jose and I. And yeah, I had a nice run with female pop artists, Janet Jackson, Madonna, knocked out a couple Super Bowls. So yeah, I call myself a female pop dancer, female pop backup dancer.
All right, awesome. And Jose?
So I'm Jose. I'm from Puerto Rico. Born and raised. Moved to LA when I was 22, and that's when the whole, career went crazy for me in a good way. Usually people know me for being the womanizer for Britney Spears.
Right.
And the past, I would say 7-8 years, I've been with J-Lo. Got the chance to be in the last Super Bowl with Jennifer Lopez, which is an incredible opportunity. And yeah, that's kind of like the main bullet points. I think that says.
Yeah, just before we get to Jonathan, I actually saw the Super Bowl and saw parts of you all, and it was kind of cool. It's I know that. Jonathan, tell us who you are.
Okay, so hello. My name's Johnny, or you could say Jonathan, but Johnny Bishop, people call me. I'm 26. I moved to London when I was probably 10 years old. I'm from Trinidad originally. And yeah, I know, right? Hey. And I started performing arts in Trinidad, but then I moved to London to study it at a performing arts school. And I've sort of been in the musical theater realm and also in the commercial side. So I've done shows like Lion King. I was young Simba when I was probably 12 or 13. And then I started to do things like X Factor and dance for different artists. And then I've recently been in Hamilton, and I've done a few films as well, and also in The Heights, not the movie, the musical. And so, yeah, I kind of flip between the commercial world and the musical theater world, but I'm more so on the musical theater side right now. I'm currently in Bat Out of Hell, the musical.
Awesome. Yeah. So we have a bit of TV, Broadway, and dance touring. What made you all, or what got you all the inspiration to pursue dance in the beginning?
So what made me start in dancing, honestly, it was a combination of things. Now that I remember, there was just a few things. But I think back then I was a really shy guy and super quiet. And I think when I saw my friends dancing and I saw how they were able to express themselves in a different way, that was definitely, I feel got me hooked.
How old were you?
I was 16. It was actually pretty late. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was almost out of high school, and I just couldn't find a voice. I was a gymnast before. I was in martial arts, but I just couldn't find something that I could express myself fully. And it happened with the field days back home. There's this thing that is called the field days. It's like a race competition, and they do dance competitions inside the race competition, which is living. But they start the competition with the dancing part. So I was always we wanted to do, the gymnast stuff, and I would see them dancing and rehearsals, and it was just so much fun. So that's the first time that I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. Like, I can move a little bit. And I went to school, a dance school, and once I started, man, I couldn't stop. It was just back to back to back. It was just a way to express myself that I didn't have to talk, because I'm not the best one in talking a lot. But the stage was just this fire, like, like you just could feel that. I felt huge, and I stayed there. It's my career today.
Nice. Jonathan or Johnny?
Yeah. Well, Michael Jackson, really. Well, actually, there's a long story, but basically, I used to watch Spice Girls when I was like 3, and then my mom was like, my dad, like,
show your age there.
And then my mom was like to my dad, like, can you bring home like a male influence? Because obviously, it's like, anyways, I'm being in the Caribbean, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a lot. So, anyways, they bring home Michael Jackson, as in like tapes of him. And I literally, like, I was like glued to the screen. I used to watch his tapes, and like I had the costume and everything. And that's how I started. And then I got into a show from London, or from Leeds actually, came to Trinidad, because it was like a Trinidadian person who wrote the show. And they brought some of the cast from Leeds to Trinidad, and I auditioned for the show, and that was kind of my sort of in to the stage and everything else, because I got into the show and I got to meet all these different performers and everything. And since then, I've just kind of like kept going with it.
And you were how old?
When I started Michael stuff, that was like 4, and when I got into the show was 7, and the show is called Carnival Messiah.
Right, Carnival Messiah. I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, 7.
Yeah. I mean, well, a lot of people start younger, so it's it's not.
Yeah. What time? What age were you when you were Simba?
I was like 12 or 13 doing that. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Like, how was that experience?
Like, I wish.
Huh?
Like how was that? I mean, this is not only the most iconic Broadway ever. Like, I mean, that will go down in so many history books. Like,
Yeah.
I was privileged enough to actually see it with my mom, and that is one Broadway that I could actually see over and over and over again. How is that being chosen to be Simba? Like, not just any character, but Simba.
Yeah. Well, the
Simba.
thing is, they the company, so that basically they sometimes go to different countries and audition, and then they'll send people to various companies all over the world. So whether they take them to Spain or London or wherever. So the casting team actually came to Trinidad twice before I moved to London, and I got to audition for them. I was like one of the only kids that like went to audition, because nobody's really allowed to. No kids are. They only audition adults. And what they said to me was like, you have to be in a school abroad and be on an agency to be able to get into the show. So it was actually my 3rd time auditioning when I came to London to study. I auditioned then, and that's when I got in. So I had wanted to do this role for like so long. Like, it was like 2 or 3 years, and I was just like, I said to my parents, I was like, gosh, like, you guys are like, it feels like I'm being kept back home, because I know there are kids out there in London and in America that are doing these shows and these type of roles, but there's no opportunity back home to do it. And luckily my mom's sister lived over here, so that was like my kind of, I had a place to stay. It took them a while, but it was a big win, really, because it was, I guess, a big sacrifice for the family for me to come over to London at that age. And also it was kind of like, is this the right thing to do? So me getting that role, in addition to, I guess, like my own joy, was kind of like a good thing for them, because I think they faced different people saying X, Y, and Z to them. How could you let your child go? Or you guys are doing this for money, or
Yeah.
you know, all those different kind of stuff. So I think when I got the role, it was a really wonderful thing all around, and it was like a dream for me, you know. And it's
Awesome.
a fun show. So yeah.
And Gilbert.
What's up? So I feel like I had two beginnings of dance. So I was born in Mexico. So from 5 years old, I started dancing our traditional dance, which is Mexican folklore. And so I did that from the time I was 5 years old to about 17. I actually studied in Mexico every summer, from the summer that I turned 13 to the summer that I turned 17. I would go to Mexico for 3 months to study Mexican folklore because I thought I wanted to be a folklorico instructor. And then I got to college and I started hearing different types of music. Like I was in Mexican folklore and I was a Mexican cowboy. We used to listen to Tejano music because I grew up in Houston, Texas. So that was my vocabulary of music until I got to college. And then I actually took a dance elective just because I knew I was a decent dancer. So I took a jazz elective. And so that's when I started like getting into different types of music. And then I actually went to my first audition on a dare. My manager on a dare, yeah. So my manager at a job that I worked with, he used to have a little, he used to have the radio playing in the background, and he would always see me like acting like I knew what I was doing. And in Houston, where I grew up, when I was a senior in high school, the WNBA, the Houston Comets, it was the first season of the WNBA, and the Houston team was the first champions, the WNBA champions. And in the cover of the newspaper, the dance team made it, right? Like celebrating with all the confetti, like just like the NBA, right? You win a championship, and and the dance team made it. And so my manager or my boss comes in with the newspaper and he throws it at me and he's like, "I bet you can't do that." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I auditioned and I made the team. And so, so I actually did that for a couple seasons, for 2 seasons. They ended up using us for the NBA as well, for the Houston Rockets for a couple of seasons. And after my second year of college, after my scholarship ran out, I had a decision to make. I was either going to start paying for my own tuition, or I was going to move to LA, because people around me, dancers around me, had started talking about it. And what actually happened is one of the guys that I danced with was a singer, and he had made he was one of the finalists for the BET Coca-Cola competition that was happening at the time. I think like the year before Tyrese had won it. So he was in the finals. He needed dancers, and so they brought us all to LA to backup dance for him for his competition. And an agent saw me, and the agent was like, "We're having auditions in December. If you can make it out here, come out." And so I did. I took a flight out, and I was trying to do the math recently. I think not just because of this interview, but because of another project that I'm trying to piece together so this is my 20-year anniversary of being in LA.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've been here for 20 years now. I've danced in 3 decades because I began dancing in 97. The summer of 97 is when I began dancing for the NBA teams back home. Right around 2000, 2001, if I do my math correctly, is when I moved to LA. And so anyways, long story short, I feel like I'm rambling. I ended up making the audition for the agency. And then I went back home, packed up my car, and drove to LA. And then I started auditioning, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah. On that note with auditioning, so what is normally the mindset, especially, in the beginning days of auditioning? Because I'm sure obviously now you have some credits on you and all that. So it's a bit easier maybe, but we'll get to that. what was your headspace when you were doing your first major audition?
To
And
me,
who was it for?
my first audition in LA was for Britney Spears, which is
Right.
crazy.
Was this for the music video or for the tour?
That was for the music video, Womanizer music video. It was a secret
Right.
audition. Nobody knew about it. I mean, nobody knew that it was Britney Spears. And
Ah, okay.
Gilbert was the one, because I was like, hey, I don't have an agency. There's no way. I've been in LA for 2 weeks. I went to LA just to take classes, train. And Gilbert was like, you dress up, and let's go to the audition. I was like, are you crazy? Like, there's no way they're not gonna let me in. Like, so Gilbert and two more friends, Willie and Kat, they were just pushing me, like, let's just dress up, let's do this. And I did. So my mindset back then, I would say it was like, it was my plan A, plan B, plan C. Just specifically because Britney Spears was my dream artist. So that was the only choice that I had to basically get the job. So that first audition, I just remember me waiting outside till they let me in. And I don't know if you remember Gilbert, but they kept cutting people in and out, in and out.
No,
I just
literally, like, yeah.
outside of the door by myself for
Wow.
hours, and I was like, this is the only chance. I mean, I don't know if there was no chances, but in my head, I was like, okay, I have to walk out of here with the job. Like, this is my dream. I've been practicing Britney Spears dances 2 weeks before that without even knowing there was an audition, just because I loved it, just because it was my dream artist. So my mindset was just like fire, man. Like, I remember me walking in,
Wow.
learning the choreo in that corner, and it was just crazy. The whole thing feels like a dream right now, but it happened. But mindset,
Yeah, I mean,
was what
Britney
it was like,
Spears.
yeah. But at least
Like,
me, that's what happened to me when it comes to, like, now after that. Of course, the mindset is just always kind of like the same for me. Was, I just a little bit of doubt, a little bit of fire, a little bit of preparation, a little bit of the hell, let's just go for it. And some of them went good, some of them I didn't do so good, but it was all preparing me for the next. Every single time I was auditioning, some of them, there was a few no's, and I was really sad about it. And later on, I was like, okay, that's why that audition didn't happen. It makes sense now. I needed to be in this other place.
Jonathan, like, with regards to like One Direction and Justin Bieber and all these guys too, because I'm guessing your background before was Broadway. What made you shift or dabble into the other stuff?
Yeah. Well, P.S. When you say Broadway, like West End, because
Well, yeah, West.
but
Well, yeah.
yeah, but it's like
West.
the equivalent.
Yeah.
So I think it's partly to do with when I was at performing arts school. So, as a guy, your voice breaks and stuff. And so, like, I think there's a period when you're like a teenager that there's not much roles for boys or like young guys. Because you kind of have to wait till you're in the 20s or once your voice sort of settles and then or you look a bit older. Um, and so, like, while I was doing that, I was in 2XS. You guys probably know about 2XS. Dance to Excess.
What is that? 2XS?
Dance to Excess.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was Patrick Chen and Lee Daniels. I think they kind of ran it in LA and stuff. But then there was like a UK version. So Cisco Gomez and Kimberly Taylor. Yeah. So I was studying under them, and this was like outside of school. And then Cisco was working under Brian for X Factor and stuff like that. And so once I started to sort of grow in the company, I guess, then the next thing was, okay, well, let's go and do these auditions for X Factor and stuff, which was the shows that he was working for. And so that's kind of how I kind of got into the commercial side of.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you think that you had the same fire with regards to like stage shows compared to theater?
Compared, as in like did I enjoy it as much, or is it like
Yeah, like if you had to choose one,
oh,
like if you had to choose one.
Well, now I would choose I would choose the theater stuff personally. That's just my personal thing about it. See, you gotta be careful on this talk because I don't know.
Who's watching?
You know what I mean? Like, because there's reasons. I think that the commercial world, I call it the commercial world, but dancing for artists and stuff, it's wonderul. Like I've done it, and there's so much joy in it and stuff. But I feel like, and you guys can correct me, but there's certain gigs that I've done where I just felt like the dancers weren't treated the way that they should have been treated. You know what I mean? Or taken care of. And there's just certain there's other things. I think because I like to sing as well. Sometimes I feel like I want to pass through various channels, and I feel like with once when you're dancing and stuff, then you can't necessarily do that. So in the theater world, like if I'm in the ensemble or whatever, I get to dance and sing and act. So there's that. But I feel that sometimes in the commercial realm that things can be handled better, or like like the dancers are artists as well, and I feel like they should be taken care of always. You know what I mean? And treated with the respect that the artist gets treated with. But that's what I would say. You know what I mean?
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Gilbert, what was your experience like with regards to like your first audition, your major audition?
So obviously, obviously the story that Jose told you shows you that I never took a passive approach. I was like, I'm going. I wasn't on the list. I'm going. And so that's kind of what I encourage with Jose, because I was kind of, I had already been in LA for a while and done a couple of big gigs and stuff. And so I actually, not only with Jose, but I say that I have a lot of little brothers in the industry that I've been like, nope, let's go. You're coming. And I'll put my name behind you, like, because it takes courage. Like those rooms are full of the best of the best. You know what I mean?
I can imagine,
That passive approach, it shows. You can, there's certain choreographers that can kind of smell the fear, and some like it and some don't. Same with the artist. You know what I mean? And I think because I kind of like started auditioning right after I started dancing, I didn't know all of the scary things about auditions. So I treated it like, in high school, I played baseball. So I always treated it like a sport. Like you have one goal, and the goal is to win. You're going to win, whatever you're auditioning for. And so my mentality was always like, how do you win? You smash the competition pretty much. And so that's kind of what I had in mind always. I always treated it like a sport. Funny story, my very first audition, dating myself, but I don't care, was Madonna's Tell Me, the cowboy video?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Her 4 cowboys or whatever. So I think I was like 2 days into being in LA, and I was dancing, I was taking class at the Edge, and I heard people talking about it, and I was like, what y'all talking about? And so I heard where it was, and so I crashed it, mind you, because I hadn't signed with an agent yet, like I was going to sign, but I hadn't yet. Everybody was dressed like cowboys, and I didn't know that you had to dress up like cowboys for the audition, because that's what it was. And so I stood out like a sore thumb. I think I kicked Omar. Like, I think he was assisting the choreographer, like Jamie King or whatever it was. I think I kicked him in the head trying to do a flip. Like, he'll tell you, like, horrible. I mean, but I made it. I made it all the way to seeing Madonna, and then once Madonna came in the room, I freaked out. Like, it was my first time seeing an artist, and it didn't go well. But it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about, like, just go, and if it doesn't work out, whatever level of whatever cut you make it to, it's still progress. And so yeah, I kind of just, you know, I took that and ran with it at every audition. You know, I would scan the room, I would pick up on you know, what the people around me were doing that was working, and then I would apply it, you know, for the next audition. Like, it's so funny. Some of my friends, like Draco and them, we all moved out there at the same time, and they would make fun of me because they would see me doing, like, because I've never ever been a freestyle dancer, ever. Like,
and so, like, you know, like on the head and all that.
Just anything where they say freestyle has never been my thing. You know, like, give me choreography and I'm good. But they would laugh at me because they would see, like, me doing stuff that I learned in class, and I would be like, oh, let me do that move. I had no clue what to do, absolutely no clue what to do, but I had confidence. You know what I mean? And so I just kind of like ran with that, like, regardless of if it goes well or not, just go in the room with confidence and show them that you want to be there. You know what I mean? And so one of the first people that took me on was Tina Landon, the amazing Tina Landon. And she made sure to tell me, I know you don't know this. I know you don't know pirouettes. I know you don't know terminology, but I know that when I show you, you're going to pull aside and you're going to work on it. And so I think after, when you come to the room with courage and then you show that you work hard, that travels. People start hearing about that. And that's what gets you, like, you know, when you don't know these people in these auditions, you're like, why did they, it's the work ethic behind once you get there. You know what I mean? Like that, when you get into the next audition, you kind of walk with that confidence of, like, they know I work hard. So all I got to do right now is prove that I can do this material because they know I work hard. And that's what, you know what I mean? That kind of carries.
Yeah.
So, you know. I'm going to add something to that because, I mean, it's very true because when I moved to LA, I didn't know any English. Like, nothing, no words. I only knew dog, cat, water, just the basic stuff. But, you know, the people that hired me, they just kept talking about that. They were like, he's so passionate. You know, like they could feel that I was, like, fired and that I love what I was doing. And I feel like that, bringing that with me in every room, went over everything else. The fact that I didn't speak the language, the fact that I was too short for the job, the fact that, I don't know, that who is he? We don't know his work ethic, you know? So I have to agree on that with Gilbert. Yeah. That definitely when you come to auditions, like, there's no limits. People sometimes, they're like, oh, like, I'm not right for the job. They're looking for this something else. You know, you can change anybody's mind with heart and with passion. And with
that is true.
You can walk in and switch people's mind. And that happens, I feel like that happens probably on the Broadway world too, in the acting world, in everything. It's just people, even choreographers, they're humans, directors, they're humans.
Yeah.
They have this perfect idea, but when somebody brings that energy to them, that person is capable of switching the room, of changing somebody's mind. And for all the people that are watching and that are scared, they're like overthinking, think of that. Think of, like, you have the power to really walk in any room and change anybody's rules and mindset. Like, you really walk in the room with that passion and that power and belief in yourself. Like Gilbert said, confidence, but, you know, that word sometimes people are scared of. Like, oh, I don't have enough stuff. No, rely on what you love to do. Walking.
And I'm guessing
how much you love what you love, and people will feel it.
Yeah. I'm guessing also it's, I mean, you can have confidence, but then some people also probably take it a bit too far and they have more ego. So it's like, I guess, having that balance. So, you know, you could be approachable, you could be talented, you could, you know what you're doing, but you don't have that ego that you reach the top and, you know, you got this.
Is that humbleness?
And I think
that humble confidence. like
Yeah.
I believe in me, but I'm also here to learn. Like I'm hungry. What else can I do? How can I provide you? How can I provide you?
The best of me.
Best of me. Yeah. Not like
because I know for three of y'all have basically all been on if it's not a tour, it's a season in West End, where you're basically seeing the same people for a long period of time. So I think that also, just with any management or any team manager or the choreographer or whoever, they are trying to build that strong family, because you're going to be eating, sleeping, and having this long relationship with that person. So it's like having the right personalities that can blend and match with, everyone else. What's the longest tour that y'all have been on? And with regards to Johnny season.
I was in Hamilton for 2 years. That was my longest.
2 years.
I've done a show for 2 years, yeah, but I did that one for 2.
Was there a break in between the 2 years?
No. It was 8 shows.
2 years straight.
Yeah, 8 shows a week for 2 years straight. But I mean, you have like your holidays. You get like a month off per year, and you have to sort of spread that out for the year. So you take like 2 days here or like a 3, you know what I mean? But like,
okay.
You're going for, the full 2 years. Yeah. Coming down to the end, we were like, oh God, here we go, we're nearly there. it's like seeing that finish line, because like the show is amazing, and it's a wonderful piece, and we love doing.
I mean, it's Hamilton.
yeah, it's fun, but at the same time, like your body and like everything, you're just like, oh gosh, 2 years, it's a long time. So
yeah, I mean, 2 years is long.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And then let's say.
I did a year and a half, but with breaks, like a month break, 3 weeks, 2 months. Like that was very much it. I don't know. Damn, a show every day for a year and a half would be like rough for me.
Yeah,
it's
like
because like he says, like you love what you do, but it's people. You're around people, and it's just.
Yeah, because I remember when I met your guy in Dubai, and I saw that the whole JLo crew is basically like a crew. I think you'll have like a whole fan base. There's a TV show about the whole JLo dancers.
Yeah, it was a TV show.
So how did that become a thing? Like, I think for everyone else, even Christina and all these guys, even though a lot of y'all kind of blend in with a few other artists, but how did the JLo dancers become a thing? Like, when did that start?
You know what I mean? Can I answer that?
Yeah.
So it was an awesome experience for us, because I don't know if there was other shows like Dance Life that happened on MTV and stuff like that. But it was such an awesome experience, because I really don't think it had been, they hadn't dived into what it's actually like when we're traveling, And so the cool part about Jennifer Lopez, obviously, is that she's always been a creator of content, of shows. And so, this was something that was on her platform on the Nouveau network that she was a part of at the time. So it was a very personal project for her. You know what I mean? It was her first world tour. So there was for a while there was conversations about it, you know what I mean, because creating a TV show is not easy, and there's we're gonna do it this way, we're gonna do it that way. And so what actually happened, which was genius, we just went on this world tour with cameras, and they just captured. And so then after the fact is when it was it was pieced together into the show that you saw. But it's awesome to be able to go back into the vault, which I call, and see that footage, because being a dancer on tour is tough. It's really tough. You're living out of a suitcase. You're away from family and loved ones. Travel on your body is tough. Dancing on your body is tough. Emotionally, physically, all of it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, which was really obvious in the show, you build a family that is that is there for you when your actual family is not able to be. And it was captured. It was captured, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I remember because my brother actually worked on the E special. He was actually the video guy when y'all came to Dubai, and he was telling me that like JLo as a person also, even when I met her, it's just she loves y'all. What I saw, you know, the Thanksgiving dinners. How is that like with other artists? Like, do you think you have a better relationship with others, or do you think other artists are more open to actually be closer to their talents, or are they more standoffish? You don't have to call names, of course.
Who wants?
If you want to.
I think they're all different. For me, I feel like my relationship with every artist I work with really depends on the project and kind of like the dynamic of it. Because some of the projects really have a lot of people. So as much as they want to like maybe get closer to me, it's kind of hard. Or shorter, it's just faster projects, 1 week, 2 weeks. When it comes to tour, I feel like you always get to connect with the artists. At least the ones that I work with, all of them has been very impactful as human beings. Experiences with them, the talks, or just, you know, sometimes in rehearsals when they're just like, you know how people say like preaching, like telling you things that they know that you might not know about. I take those things, like, you know, so, but they're all different. None of them, I would say, not Britney, not Christina, not Janet, not JLo, like none of them, nobody can say they're all the same, you know? It's a very deep, unique experience. But I do have to say that they are very special in his own way.
I think I think it depends on like I think Jose and I both work with a lot of female pop artists. So you're playing a part on stage with them that involves physical communication and interaction. So the more authentic that is on stage, I feel like it carries over into whatever downtime you have. You know what I mean? So if you get to travel with these artists and you just had an awesome show, you go into talking about it and you end up creating a dynamic with them that is, the more authentic it is off, I feel like the more authentic it is on. And I think a lot of artists know that. So a lot of artists that hire dancers usually try to get to know their dancers. You know, if time permits, if it's not a one-off gig and they're not like at the, you know, if they're not like in the middle of like a huge promo, if they have the time, most artists do, they like, artists and dancers are just, you know, they're hand in hand. And I think it's pretty, that part is pretty consistent with how artists connect with their dancers. Now, like if an artist has a family already, she's probably not hanging out, you know, after the shows. But if she's young and you know what I mean, if she matches in age, there's so many variables to it. But I think most artists they like knowing their dancers and keeping their, like keeping at least a core of their dancers around them for as long as possible, as long as creatively possible. You know, for me, like I pride myself on having because I'm kind of ending my dance career. You know what I mean? Because I'm also an actor, and so you know you gotta change the channel at some point. You can't just let it kind of drift off. So I purposely took on the Christina Aguilera gig as my kind of full circle kind of closure in my dance career, because she was my first, she was my first tour. I began her in February of 2002. And so we just finished Vegas right before the lockdown. We were finishing up in Vegas, and we'll see. I don't know if we're meant to have more stuff in November if things are open. I'm not sure. But this is my my full circle, you know what I mean? And reason being because she's always she's like my sister. We grew up together, you know what I mean? And you can feel that on stage. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most awesome feeling in the world, is to be doing what you love alongside, and I don't mean it just artist to dancer. Like when the people you're dancing with have that, like I feel like we had that on the Jennifer gig. That's what was so awesome about that show, is that they caught some of that magic, you know what I mean? And so I call it synergy, you know what I mean? When that synergy between the cast of dancers or between the dancers and the artists is there, it's like, it's magic, you know? So Stomp the Yard was kind of awesome. That was my first time ever acting, right? I didn't even know I wanted to act. But it was obviously one of the first dance films. And the casting director, Twinkie, who I'll forever be thankful for, she, you know, she took a liking for myself for that part, because it actually was, I hope I'm not remembering this incorrectly. Again, things kind of blur together with all of it, you know? But if I'm not mistaken, it was between me and Fly, the choreographer, right? And me and Fly are two completely different people, you know what I mean? And I think it was just, you know, that's how casting is with films, you know what I mean? And so Twinkie just kept pushing me, and I don't think I did good in the first audition, because again, I had never done it before. And she pulled me to the side and she was like, I know what you got. I've seen it before. Go back in there and show them that. Well, I don't even know if people were there, if it was for the camera, for a self-tape. I don't know, because I was so nervous. And yeah, and then I ended up getting it. And I remember being on set and being like, whoa, this is crazy. Very much like a music video, but like on 1,000, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, because if you remember the scene, it's such an intense and aggressive, like, scene, you know what I mean? The big underground dance battle or whatever. Yeah. And then you got Chris Brown in front of you, like, doing all kind of crazy choreography, like, and as well as the way the dancers that were casted. I was like dancing with Marty Kadelkas, you know what I mean, and Eddie Morales, you know what I mean, and Dave Scotts and all these people. And then on top of that, I also have to play this role, you know what I mean? And so yeah, I remember the director, Sylvain White, if I'm not mistaken, Sylvain White. I remember him just saying, because you know he's so busy doing all these things that they just drop a little bit of information to help you with whatever they can with a character, and then they have to do 1,000 other things. And he said, I need a pit bull of a character. I said, okay, what does that mean? I don't know, but let's go. And I just went nuts. I just kind of, you know, that character was, you have to kind of do your, now I know, you have to do your backstory of what that character goes through and you know, intertwine that and tie. And I knew that character was about to murder Chris Brown's character later. So I knew how crazy he needed to be in this prior scene. And so I just, you know, I did what I thought, you know, what I thought was appropriate. And I just kind of went with it, you know?
Wow.
So cool. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. That's like proper Hollywood though. Like, wow.
No, but honestly though, it's so funny because to this day, because I'm a smiler. Look at me now. Like, you know, you can't even see my eyes because I'm always like smiling. And in that film, I'm like the worst, and I end up killing Chris Brown. Like I shoot Chris Brown. And so when people put that, like they'll be talking to me, and then maybe somebody will say it or whatever, and then they'll be like, "Wait, you killed Chris Brown?" They're like, "Oh, you killed Chris." Like it's such a crazy thing to this day because you killed Chris Brown. Like, oh wait, I have a funny story. So after about 6 years, I think, like that, of that film, I auditioned for Chris, right? And he's sitting at like we go through all the cuts or whatever, and he's sitting at the front table, and I'm about to go. You know, I go. All these groups are going, whatever, and then my group goes, and I'm sitting there. And as we're about to go, he's like, "Yo, you the dude who killed me, aren't you?" Like he remembers. So, you know, it's kind of awesome, you know.
Oh my god. Let's touch base on workshops. Now I know that what got y'all into actually hosting, you know, your own little workshops and dance classes and all of these things. And like what, I guess what, yeah, what inspired you? Like, do you prefer teaching? Do you like teaching? Or is it just one of those side things that you kind of have to do during spare time?
Especially because there's so many amazing teachers and choreographers that do it amazingly. I don't necessarily like, the creating of choreography. It's not like the easiest thing for me. Like, it's stressful. Like, is it going to be good enough for them? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it going to challenge them? Like, stuff like that goes through my mind. Like, where with other choreographers, they just like bust out choreography and they have like this amazing routine for class. That part, like, is not, it doesn't come naturally to me. You know what I mean? It takes a little bit of effort, and so it kind of discourages me from teaching a lot, you know? But for me, the most awesome part is connecting with students and doing this, like there's sometimes like a Q&A before or after. And I think that for me that's the reason why I make myself teach, you know what I mean? So that there can be a connection with students. And so I have to, like, you know, put my ego aside of if my material is going to be up to par, so that I can have that connection with students, because I think it's important to, you know, to pay it forward and to teach.
Oh, no, definitely.
At the end of the day, you're not there to show off your choreography, or at least when I teach, you're not there to show off your choreography. You're there to teach them a lesson in the industry, a lesson in how to understand movement. You know, you're there to help them grow as a dancer, for them, not for you. So that's the part that I like about teaching.
Yeah, I remember, Johnny, when was it when I was there with you during when you were doing your dance workshop? That was like, what, 2 years ago, I think? I can't remember. But you on the spot. But I mean, I've seen you've been doing a few recently. What inspired you to do like workshops and classes?
Well, I mean, I was teaching before, and then I took some time away from teaching when I was starting to do musical theater again. And then recently, I joined up with my friend who was in the show with me, and we were teaching open class, and then we were just like, we felt like we weren't getting as much over to the students, and we also, I guess, weren't probably getting as much back as well, you know, or seeing the growth that we kind of wanted to see in them. And so we decided we would kind of host our own thing. We had like a 3 day workshop, and we branded it and named it and stuff, and we can have them in for like 4 hours each day, and we kind of run that every so often. And you have like a intensive with them for like with a specific group of people that come back. And I think it was basically that we just wanted to do something that was more than open class, so that we could see, like as Gilbert said, like, you know, the just that growth in them, and to give back. And also, like, I find, you know, that's the more that you do and stuff, the more that you learn. So I'm learning on the gigs that I'm doing, and then I can just go back and like report to them, like, okay, actually this is a better way to do this, or this and this happened, so watch out for this when you get to X, Y, and Z, or, you know, different things like that. So
how long have you been teaching?
I started when I was 17. What I started doing was covering for Kim and Cisco, when I was younger, and then but again, like when I started teaching, like versus to now, like, you know, it's like what Gilbert said, you know, I would go in and it was like I just had my combo, and I was like, I just want them to get the combo. I just want them to get the full thing. And I would teach at 100 miles per hour. Like, everybody was like, girl, we don't know what the steps are. We don't know that. I mean, like, we're trying to catch the first 8. And I'm over there like, let's go. Do you guys know? You know, so versus now, and like for a while, like it took a while. And I think like, but over the years, like, you know, so like now when I teach, it's very different. It's like, you know, you cater to the group and you see, how are they doing? Do you guys need more, or is it that let's do that again from the top a few times, let's drill that, so it's quite different now, when I'm teaching.
Wow.
Yeah.
And would say, do you do classes yourself or not really?
I used to. I've been wanting to get back on it, but it's just one of those things that is that a little bit of self-doubt when it comes to teaching. So yeah, still learning, still growing. I'm still working on it because I definitely want to give back to younger dancers and teach them what I got from my 17 years dancing that they might not find anywhere else right now. The stage experience, but I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it not so much more about the steps, but about intention behind the steps and the performance level, the coming in on stage, getting out of the stage. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But yeah, I used to teach back home a lot. I enjoyed it. I loved it. But there was an in-between time where I started doing film. And when I got back into dancing, dance was like completely different. Like fully a whole different thing. And I step into class and I'm like, oh my God, the movement, the whole thing changed. What was Airbnb at the time that I was dancing on stage, 2012 on tour, by 2017, two different worlds, So that's where I got a little bit lost in okay, I need to somehow adapt as a dancer again. Can I teach? Do I really have something to bring to them? That self-doubt. Are they gonna value it? Can they see that I know something that they still don't know?
Right.
So important to work as a dancer on stage. So yeah, that's where my journey is.
Yeah, because what were you doing before the Super Bowl? Like, how long was your break and dance, or was there a break?
Right before Super Bowl, I was on the Vegas JLo show for like a year and a half. So I want to say,
right, that's it.
I want to say 2 years. And then before that, I had a 3-year break. So I did tours like, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. I take my break on 13. And I'm only do certain promo shows till almost 16, 17. And then I get back on the Vegas show with JLo, and that's my official, I made it so dramatic. I was like, I'm not dancing again. I made it again as a filmmaker. Thank you, everybody, for
because was that before or after? Was that before or after your Justin Bieber music video that you did?
That was
what?
Okay, the Justin Bieber videos was on in between my break. I already gave up dancing, and I was filming for 3 years. The Bieber videos was really high as a filmmaker. I was 3 years in, and then a year after the Bieber videos, I get offered the Vegas show to replace one of the dancers. And I was not in shape. I wasn't that, a long time without dancing, But when I got that call, I was like, it's cool.
It's like riding a bike, right? It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, it was like a second like a second chance to do this again. And man, it was awesome. Best decision ever. I thought I had to do one thing or the other, but somehow I've been blessed to combine both. And I'm glad that I said yes, because that got me to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, how was this Super Bowl experience? Not just, one of the biggest shows in the world, viewed and all. How was the preparation? Because I saw the behind the scenes. I think JLo's A-Rod, I think they were doing some behind the scenes stuff. So I kind of saw the preparations. But how was it for you all?
Let me get water on that one because it was rough. Man,
Go to commercial. Go to commercial.
no. I mean, we're dancers, you know. Like I'm sure, like you guys know, like it's just it's a lot of work. There's so much work put behind what we do. You know, whatever it is, a tour show.
How long was it though? Like how much practice you had?
This one was what was special and rough and hard work about this one is that it was 6 weeks for a 7-minute show. So, you know, it was a 7-minute show and you got 6 weeks and you're making it perfect every day on a 300%. There's no like, let's take it easy, we got time. No. It was just like on 100% every day, raising the bar to perfection. Then how can it be better? And raising the bar every week, raising the bar, and obviously physically, you know, there was just injuries and stuff. Like I got my shoulder hurt, and it was just, you know, I wanted to be on the show, so it was just a roller coaster of emotions. And I feel like on those 6 weeks, I learned what I probably learned before in a year. Like it was a lot of work.
It was an intense master class then.
It was intense. Yeah, it was really intense. But was it worth it? Absolutely. I feel like I walked out of that experience a different beast as a person, as a professional. It really challenged me mentally and emotionally because, you know, being injured, being hurt, it was just the moment of my dreams. You know, it was J-Lo, Latina, Puerto Rican, I'm Puerto Rican. I waited my whole life for this. You know, I waited my whole life.
Yeah.
So of course, life is not gonna be like, yeah, you're in the Super Bowl. Woo! No, you're in the Super Bowl. Let's get you hurt. Let's get you this. Let's get you that. So, a lot of things. Life, man, it's life. We all go through stuff while we're on these jobs. People only see the beauty of it. You know, like I'm on stage with a superstar. They don't know that there's so much life. You know, we're humans. So the Super Bowl was my Super Bowl in many levels. My life and just family, just a lot of stuff. It was a challenge.
But on that note too, like with regards to the importance of like health and fitness, is that like an automatic part of your lives, or is it something that slips by? But like, what is normally the routine to, you know, keep in shape and to keep dancing to the full potential?
Taking care of myself. I'll keep it short. Like, you know, for me, like taking care of myself, my body, and eating well has been the way I see myself my fullest potential. Meditating. Mind.
I need to start meditating though. Like now I live in Bali and it's like around me, but I still have not really actually like got into it. I think my mind is too busy, that's why I need to actually meditate, but that's a whole other talk. And Gilbert, for you, like how do you
so being the grandpa
get in the zone?
Being the grandpa of the group, I had different chapters of how I had to take care of my body. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a technically trained dancer, so I never really knew how important it was to stretch before and after gigs and stuff like that. So I kind of learned along the way. I'm so thankful that I've never suffered huge injuries. But I learned kind of early on how important it was for eating better, you know what I mean? Like obviously rest, which I wasn't really good at for a long time because, you know, you like to hang out after shows and stuff like that. But like, I think now, more recently now, because I know if you want to keep using the tempo, you got to invest. You got to invest. So obviously the dieting, you know, no more junk food, you know what I mean? That stuff, it's fuel, you know, so it slows your body down. You can push through it because we're great performers, but you feel the difference, you know what I mean? So, you know, just what you put into the body you know what I mean, being more careful about it, and just the stretching and the soaking, you know, the muscles and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, even like you said, even the mind is so important, you know what I mean?
Oh, the mind is important.
The body feels that conversation, you know what I mean?
Mind.
So just learning how important all of it working together. Because before I didn't used to know none of that. I just used to be like, let's dance and go to sleep, you know?
Yeah, basically they say spirit first, mind follows, body belongs.
Okay, I've never heard that, but yeah.
Yeah. That's
but and Johnny, how do you keep up?
Well, I kind of have a regime of like sort of doing pull-ups and dips. That's like my kind of main go-to, so because they're like realigning sort of exercises. They kind of realign your body. But and otherwise, I mean, I don't really eat as well, probably as I should. But it's okay. But what I do is, you know, like as well, I like if I'm doing a show and stuff, you know, I do have a not a doctor, but he's a osteopath that I will go to probably once every 2 or 3 weeks, or you know, month or whatever it is, to like just make sure that everything is in line. And then and actually the regime that I've talked about is what he's given me to do, that I kind of try and do every single day. And also just drink a lot of water as well.
Water.
A lot of water, you know, water. So yeah, and everything else that the guys have said, you know.
Oh wait, but not gonna lie, there is a lot of time spent in the gym, especially because they always try to make us shirtless, so you don't want to go out there looking crazy. So there's a lot of time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's a lot of time invested in the gym, but that's more like because of appearance. You know what I mean? Like because of how they hire you, you know, more as a pop dancer, especially most of the time. But yeah, but at the same time, that also helps keep the body strong enough for you know, the way you beat it up as a dancer. I mean, because some of these gigs, I mean, just like Jose was saying, some of these gigs, they physically push you. That's why I trip out, like how little consideration we have as far as being treated like athletes. You know what I mean? Like the way Jonathan was saying, like, I don't know how well you get taken care of in the theater world when it comes to, you know, your body, but sorry, I don't mean to, not towards you. I mean towards the people that hire me. I don't mean to like rub anybody the wrong way, but I don't think people take into consideration how much we beat up our bodies in these shows. You know what I mean? Even though it's 7 minutes that people see for a Super Bowl, like you said, the amount of wear and tear on your body, and sometimes they don't treat us like athletes. You know what I mean? Sometimes they don't treat us like athletes. Sometimes they treat us like props. You know what I mean? So we have to do it on our own. We have to get our own chiropractors and our own masseuses and do all the extra. You know what I mean? But hopefully, I don't know. Maybe this conversation will start it. Hopefully one day.
Yeah, because I was not going to say, like, shouldn't that be more of a standard in the writers? You know, like I remember back in Trinidad, I was working in a hotel, and the London team was there, Beckham and everything. They hired out a whole floor just for, like, you know, masseuse and chiropractors and all of this, because it's a thing, and that's in the hotel. Far less, I'm sure they probably had the same thing in the stadiums. I will think that, you know, especially a big stadium show or tour, that should be part of that, you know, artist writer, in terms of, I mean, it's about, what's the average, well, obviously some shows are different, but it's about 10, 15, 20 of y'all sometimes, and all of y'all are actually moving your bodies a lot, and they need, you know, to be taken care of. So yeah, I think that is a conversation, because it's not like if they don't have the money to do it, you know.
Don't get me fired. Don't get me fired here.
No. Be so careful.
I have to go back to work after the lockdown. Okay?
Right.
I mean,
no, but honestly though, like real talk. this is a conversation that you would have if it was presented. Like the reality is you should be able to speak to your employer with what you need to accomplish the job. You know what I mean? And what you need to accomplish the job is to make sure that the body is taken care of. And you know what I mean? So it's not like we're
it's in their benefit anyway. I mean, the more tip shop shape you all are in, the better the performance, the better the show. So it's like it's a win-win.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that Jose?
No, that was what you just said is so important, especially like not to say, you know, our age, but you know, we've been, I'm 34 right now. So I feel like if I would have taken care of my body better when I was on tour for those 5-6 years, probably I wouldn't have hurt myself, for example, you know. So I think it is definitely a conversation. It's a sensitive subject, but I think Jonathan mentioned this in the beginning, like, you know, backup dancers, there's still this wall of the backup, but you know, we are artists, athletes, and we are artists. So it's a fight that is not necessarily the artist's fault. It's not a art.
Oh no, of course not. No.
It never is.
I mean,
like when you're in theater, when you're like other like, you have that respect of like, you know, you're seen as the artist, but then tour dancers, we have this fight that we're continuously fighting, like, hey, we need a little bit more love to take care of our body, more money to take care of our bodies, things like that, you know. So it's, you know, it's not like I definitely don't want to burn any bridges, because I respect.
Oh no. I think in some cases it could be an oversight, which is not, you know, the bad thing. I think because it's not the norm and it's something that has continued, and basically it's like, if, you know, if they're gonna buy an iPhone for 1,000 and you raise it to 1,005 and they still buy it, like, why go cheaper? You know, if they continue, if the dancers are doing what they're doing with what they have for so many years, why change it? So it's about, I think, also bringing it up in a respectful way, and have them consider it. I think not that they've done a bad job in the past, it's just the norm, it's the status quo, it's how it has been. But I think if that is something that the community could get by, or get behind,
good luck.
Who knows? It could, and again, it's not a huge.
It's a big fight. It's a long fight.
But I mean, we're not asking or saying that, you know, dancers need, you know, masseuse on call and this, and, you know, like, obviously not every situation you'll be able to have it because of the setup or whatever. But I think what I'm hearing is basically they just need to at least listen and maybe consider it if it's possible. If it fits certain things, you know, get a dumbbell or something and put it on a door in the dressing room or something like that, you know? I don't know.
in the world, like in Hamilton and stuff, they had a person, and you would basically, like, you know, once a week you could book into to see them. But I mean, like the commercial gigs and stuff that I've been on, I haven't really seen that so much, you know what I mean, like, happening. But then again, a lot of, you know, some of the things that I've been on have been kind of fast, so there's not much
need to it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah, it's a thing. Like, when I hear, you know, you guys talking about, like, doing the Super Bowl and all these things that, you know, you would think that would be catered for. So, and that's kind of, you know, the things that I was kind of pointing towards as well, like, in the beginning, you know. But
I mean, it all kind of has its pros and its cons, you know what I mean? Because I actually had a little taste of the theater world. I did a production called Zoot Suit here in LA. Right. And I think we did it with January, February, March, for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And I've never done 6 shows in 1 week. You know what I mean? So that to me, like, you know, but they had the 2 masseuses always available. That you know, you between the entire cast, you kind of put yourself in a slot or whatever. Yeah. But the amount of shows that we were being asked to do was like
a lot more
crazy in comparison. But I mean, then again, with like touring with a pop artist, you do a show, then you jump on a plane, then you get to and then you may have a break between shows, but you have travel. So there's still work happening every day. But with the theater world, like, my body was getting beat up. And then on Saturday, I don't know if it's the same out there, but on Saturdays and Sundays, you do 2 shows a day. You know, like, bro, 2 shows a day.
The double shows sometimes is like, girl, like, you're just like, before you do the second show, you're just like, Lord.
But then again, you're in a production rehearsal for a tour, and once it's game time, like that last week, you do 3 full-out shows in 1 day, like, and sometimes like within a 4-hour break, like after lunch, you come back and it's like, you know, so basically at the end of the day, dancers need masseuses.
Yeah.
We can all agree, right?
We shouldn't have to ask for it. We should be there every day, period.
But where is the steps of a dancer? Like, what is the biggest achievement that a dancer could reach to?
I mean, especially nowadays, there is no limit. You know what I mean? But look at Jennifer Lopez. You know, she's a dancer. She was a fly girl. Yeah. She was a dancer. She's probably the blueprint of everything that you can create, from being a dancer to headlining the Super Bowl to having your own shows to, like, she's literally the blueprint of what you can do. But so as far as like, let's say you're not going to become a Jennifer Lopez, you know, like, you're not going to do all the music and the acting, whatever. With social media platforms, I'm watching dancers create their own companies and you know, teach around the world. And there's so many things now with the social media platform that you can do as a dancer. You know what I mean? Like, it's honestly, I think it's you can take it any direction. I mean, look at Jose. Jose's a filmographer. You know what I mean? He's gone into that. That's his, you know, branch out. Myself, I'm an actor. You know what I mean? I'm an actor because I trained so much as a dancer, and for me, it's kind of the same language of expressing. You know what I mean? So I think it's, you know, all of it's attainable.
And I guess it depends on, like, the individual themselves, like like what it is that they're after, you know, because, like, for instance, some people might want to be in companies, or like Alvin Ailey, or you know what I mean. So their achievement will be that, versus what I would say, oh, I want to do this, or versus, you know, what somebody else would say. So I guess it's hard to pinpoint what would be the...
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I was just curious because, like, well, my late grandmother, she was a dancer also, and she had her own dance company and everything, and so dance has been, you know, in the family. My mother was a dancer, my sister, and so on. So I was always curious, but I do think, the company or being a teacher or pursuing acting or singing will be those kind of directions where you could still dance or still, you know, keep the hips moving, I guess.
Yeah. I don't think you don't even have to go in one direction. Like, I used to have a dance school. Yeah. I used to have a dance school with my little sister for about 6 years in our hometown of Houston, and then it stopped because you know, she was running it because that's where she lives, and now she has a dance program over at a middle school. So, like, we lived this owning a dance studio chapter, and then it turned into something else for the both of us. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's awesome about dancers, is that I think we're so used to, you know, we get put in this environment. Like for instance, one day you're in theater, one day you're with a pop artist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're so good at kind of like making it work. You know what I mean? That when when an idea pops in our head, let's go try to make it work. You know what I mean? And if it works, cool. However long it works, and if it doesn't, next idea, you know?
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna close up soon. Any last words you want to tell the thrivers that are watching? We'll start with Jose. We'll work down. Well, I'm not sure what the direction will be.
Okay, I would say for me, just to keep yourself inspired. Obviously, these are very tough times in general, and things keep. It seems like things keep getting like somehow worse and worse. So I know for all those creative people, it's a really, really hard time to keep yourself inspired and creative. Period. So I would say like stay grounded, find your spirituality. Is that the word? Spirituality? Sorry.
Yeah.
Go back to that. I think it's very much needed. Go back to love. Go back to the basics, and enjoy art. Is it at home? At home, it is fighting for something. Fight for that, but just do it with love and inspire other people.
Where is the steps of a dancer? Like, what is the biggest achievement that a dancer could reach to?
I mean, especially nowadays, there is no limit. You know what I mean? But look at Jennifer Lopez. She's a dancer. She was a fly girl.
Yeah.
She was a dancer. She's probably the blueprint of everything that you can create, from being a dancer to headlining the Super Bowl to having your own shows to like, she's literally the blueprint of what you can do. But so as far as like, let's say you're not gonna become a Jennifer Lopez, like you're not gonna do all the music and the acting, whatever. With social media platforms, I'm watching dancers create their own companies and teach around the world.
Gotcha.
And there's so many things now with the social media platform that you can do as a dancer. You know what I mean? Like it's honestly, I think it's you can take it any direction. I mean, look at Jose. Jose's a filmographer. You know what I mean? He's gone into that. That's his branch out. Myself, I'm an actor. You know what I mean? I'm an actor because I trained so much as a dancer, and for me, it's kind of the same language of expressing. You know what I mean? So I think it's all of it's attainable.
And I guess it depends on like the individual themselves, like like what it is that they're after, because like for instance, some people might want to be in companies or like Alvin Ailey or you know what I mean. So their achievement will be that versus what I would say, oh, I want to do this, or versus what somebody else would say. So I guess it's hard to pinpoint what would be the
I mean, for me, like I was just curious because like, well, my late grandmother, she was a dancer also, and she had her own dance company and everything, and so dance has been in the family. My mother was a dancer, my sister, and so on. So I was always curious, but I do think the company or being a teacher or pursuing acting or singing will be those kind of directions where you could still dance or still keep the hips moving, I guess.
I don't think you don't even have to go in one direction. Like I used to have a dance school. I used to have a dance school with my little sister for about 6 years in our hometown of Houston, and then it stopped because she was running it because that's where she lives. And now she has a dance program over at a middle school. So like we lived this owning a dance studio chapter, and then it turned into something else for the both of us. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's awesome about dancers is that I think we're so used to, we get put in this environment. Like for instance, one day you're in theater, one day you're with a pop artist. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're so good at kind of like making it work. You know what I mean? That when when an idea pops in our head, let's go try to make it work. You know what I mean? And if it works, cool. However long it works, and if it doesn't, next idea.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna close up soon. Any last words you want to tell the thrivers that are watching? We'll start with Jose. We'll work down. Well, I'm not sure what the direction will be.
Okay, I would say for me just to keep yourself inspired. Obviously, these are very tough times in general, and things keep. It seems like things keep getting like somehow worse and worse. So I know for all those creative people, it's really, really hard time to keep yourself inspired and creative. Period. So I would say like stay grounded, find your spirituality. Is that the word? Spirituality? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Go back to that. I think it's very much needed. Go back to love. Go back to the basics, and enjoy art. Is it at home? At home, if it is fighting for something, fight for that. But just do it with love and inspire other people. And I think that's my biggest message right now. I think it's very, very much needed, and I want all those creative people to follow their dreams and to not let anything that is going on right now to affect their dreams, because change is coming, and we're gonna be out of all this very soon. And hopefully we'll be back on stage in concerts and with a lot of people very soon. And no more fights, no more deaths, no more none of that. So that's my message to people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome. Johnny boy.
I don't want to follow that. So that was beautifully said. So that was beautifully said.
Was that Gilbert?
I think
we can't hear Gilbert. Yeah, can't hear.
Did we lose your voice?
Because Gilbert didn't hear it, so he's gonna.
What do y'all think how important networking is or has been for y'all?
That's a really good question.
How important is networking?
Yeah, and how has it been for y'all in terms of has it made much of a big impact on your careers?
I think in anything like networking is such a interesting word, especially nowadays. I feel like you have to connect with people and make solid relationships with people, because they help you. People help you. So I have, as of lately, been piecing together my 20-year of being in LA career. And I've been looking at all of my mentors along the way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And how they helped me get from here to here to here and all the way back to where we're at now. And if I hadn't networked with them, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Then I wouldn't have established a dynamic where they could have helped me. You know what I mean? Like, it depends on your personality too. Like, if it's not in your personality to dive in and ask people about, where they're from and what they do and how does it match and can we work together? I think networking is super important, because it allows you to find your connections with people. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I'm totally with you on that. Do you all have anything to add to that?
I think that was really I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
But I think that it's an interesting thing, because to piggyback off of what he's saying is that sometimes it just happens naturally.
Yeah.
It's not like you necessarily go out and say, I'm going to network, but because you're in the company of X, Y, and Z, or because you're associated with this person, then you go to an audition and they're on the panel and you're instantly at ease, because you go, oh my gosh, I know this person, or you know what I mean? And and then that happens, and then before you know it, the person on the panel goes, so P.S. this person there be because I know them, and then you know what I mean? And then you hang out with them after, and you know what I mean? So, and the theater world and the performing arts world, commercial world, it's just so small. Even between the different countries and stuff, everybody knows somebody that knows somebody. You know what I mean? So once you start getting in, then you realize, oh, this person knows this, and this person, and so it can happen quite naturally. is what I would say, so that you don't feel like necessarily, oh my God, I need to go and like introduce myself, or it can just come and happen to you, you know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like even obviously not dance related, but even in my own life, for the last 16 years, everything that I've worked on or worked with, it's through networking and relationships. I mean, if we look at what's happening now, I mean, I met you all a few years ago, and it's like, you know, trying to maintain that relationship over the years. So at least when I, you know, say hi, you know, like, who's you again? but but it's like yeah, maintaining relationships, I think it's very important, and it's finding those mentors that you could reach out to, just to get some advice, or sometimes some people just need that, you know, 5 minutes of inspiration just to, you know, get through whatever they're going through. So yeah, I'll leave with that.
I wanna add something on what you just said about, you know, sometimes people just need that 5 minute. So obviously we're going through a really tough time in the world. And I think the dance community is directly affected. It's pretty obvious that our Black brothers and sisters need our love, support. They need our attention, you know, for us to be there in whatever way they need us in. I have no clue what that is for any individual, but I just wanted to say that because we, you know, as dancers, we benefit from the culture, you know, with artists and music and choreographers and other dancers. And so we can't ignore that. You know what I mean? I think the dance community has always been a beautiful family, and our family needs us right now. So I just wanted to say that it's super important.
Definitely thank you all for your time in the three different times. Well, I mean, LA and Vegas is the same time zone, but you know, we have two different cities, because you know we're both in London.
No,
anyway,
thank you for having us, though.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And don't forget, those that are watching, thank you all very much. I'm liking this interviewing thing. Second time.
It was lovely to meet you guys as well.
All right, nice meeting you too.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you too, and good luck. Good luck to everybody with everything.
Yeah, same.
All right.